Alright gamers, welcome in to Retro Time. I'm No Such Time, and in today's video I want to talk about this idea, that Orlando, Florida might be becoming a place for video gamers in general. And the reason I say this is because today I went out to look at apartments because I'm trying to move out of this place, of course. But while I was out, I still was seeing the area and what is going on in the area, and I just have taken notice that I think the video game community might start to be picking up here in Orlando, Florida, and specifically because of I see another store being built. So I had seen some art imagery on the outside the store, and I just want to take a look at it with you guys and just get into more of an example as to why Orlando, Florida might be turning into a territory for video gamers in general, and why I foresee this being a good thing for people like myself and other people who have trouble getting out there and getting into the community and stuff like that. And what does it mean later on down the road? I mean, the way I'm seeing this is it looks good for me. But let's just get into it. All right. So this is what I saw outside of a store being built. And in the doors, I saw just a bunch of like video game stuff inside the store. And I just thought this was really cool. The issue I could see with this being a smaller store is that, it can be recognized, yes. But it makes me wonder how good it's going to do in the area it's in. I mean, at the same time, it might not be a bad spot. Um, a video gamer for like myself would is gonna check back on this in the next few months. And in fact, I was looking in this area to move because I just so happen to have an interest in that general area. There's a retro game store there. There's like a huge strip mall where was looking at, and then I saw this, and this was just cool to me. Now, I didn't take a picture of all of it, but right above the door was the green with the Triforce in the center and just green backing, which was really cool to see for the store decals. And I walked upon this, I was like, whoa! And it was just so cool to see. So, I think the video game community is truly growing here in Orlando, Florida, and I think we're gonna see more mini stores going up, mom and pop shops, because I was saying recently, people are getting a little tired of digital, and we saw recently what PlayStation can do with digital games and stuff like that, as opposed to physical. And I get into that topic a lot here, but this was just a general, like, something I saw. I was like, wow, this is a good sign for people like myself who love video gaming, and like I said, these mom and pop shops, we might be seeing more of these with the way things are going because, people still want their physical games. People don't want to continue to buy digital, not after what PlayStation did with that show. And, I'm going to keep collecting digital. And these games behind me are just going to go with me to the next place I go. But I am out there trying to look for a place right now to move in that's a lot bigger, more convenient, and more in an area that I can actually, you know, I need a new surrounding is pretty much what I'm saying. But this is awesome. I saw that when I saw this. So, this would be from Link's Awakening, and this would be from the Ocarina of Time. Obviously, the shield is the Ocarina of Time shield. Um, yeah, that's from the Ocarina of Time. This is definitely from Link's Awakening because the egg and this windfish, which the windfish actually comes up in Skyward Sword. If you haven't noticed, that's Leviathan. Let's get on to the next reason I think the video game community is just growing here in Orlando, Florida. Alrighty, so this, if you scroll up a little bit, or no, not scroll in, but I'm trying to find a way to scroll back up. There we go. So I don't want everybody to see addresses and stuff like that. But this is my surrounding, and within a I want to say like a 20-mile radius, this is the amount of video game stores that are in my area. Okay, so it might be more than a 20-mile radius, but like You got, that's not a video game store, but you got one, two, three, four, and then, man, I'm just gonna count these. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I don't know where that one is. I've never been to that one. All right, you come down here. 14, 15, 16, and 17. And then if that store goes up, that's 19. So I got 19 video game stores within this 20-mile radius of me. Orlando is growing Orlando is growing the video game community in a big way, and that's why right now that even seeing that store, that's a good reason for me to want to stay. That's that says a lot to me. And I wanted to make this video because I wanted people to start to realize that video gaming is near and dear to a lot of us. And it to some of us, there's stories we have attached to these video games that we can't get anywhere else, not even watching a movie. And people can argue with me about that all day. But let's get into the outro and the main reason why I foresee this being a great thing. And I think that Orlando has officially turned into a video gaming capital because, like even with this map here, so we got, all right, so Cybertron Video Games, which if you get out the way, that's a retro game store, okay? That's one of my favorite video game stores. My second is this one right here, Gamers Inc. Orlando. And then you got two GameStops surrounding it, which is wild to begin with because they're both really close together. And then you got this thing right here, which I've never even been to, but the fact that you're mixing comic books and video games, that's pretty awesome. And that's a GameStop. That's a GameStop. That's a retro game store. I actually been inside of this one. It's good, but from what I saw and remember, it needs a little bit of work. Like I remember there being building, but that was a while ago, so it could be entirely different now. But it's cool to see. Uh, and I've never been to this one either. So I mean, that's another retro gaming store. So all right, so there's another one. So that's let's see, let's count how many retro game stores are in Florida and all that, like Orlando, Florida, where I am. There's all right. So a majority of these are GameStops, as you can see. And I wish there was a way to do this without. All right, so look, maybe if I zoom in, we can figure out. Okay, so we got one retro game store, and then this is a retro game store, so that's two, and then three, four, five, and that's a retro game store, so that's six. Oh, man, everything's like going haywire. So, all right, so that's six. Come on, there's so many GameStops in this like entire area that it's like, okay, you're overran by GameStop, we get it. All right, so yeah, that's six. Um, I didn't know there were Cybertron games out that far. So that's seven. Seven retro game stores that I see in this radius of Orlando. So now that doesn't mean outside of Orlando, but you see there's a majority of like, okay, so going back again, we'll go to the outro in a second. We got seven retro game stores. We got one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, and 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So over 20 gaming stores in Orlando, Florida. So that would, to me, would say that Orlando, Florida is like one of the more um one of the one of the more popular places for video gamers to come to. And I never saw it that way, but as I've been here for years and I started doing my YouTube channels and seeing how retro gaming is picking up, it truly is showing us that um, retro gaming as a whole is really, really starting to pick up, and people are enjoying it more than ever because, people want those older games. People still want those, but not only that, those retro game stores, those mom and pop shops, they still sell video games brand new. So the video game community, I've noticed as of recently, it's been growing. And the reason I noticed as of recently is because we're in a time frame where inflation is just high, okay? And all people really want to do is spend their time doing something fun. That doesn't involve you having to go to like the bars anymore or going out to buy a drink, stuff like that. People are so used to like people now since after the pandemic, we've been used to sitting at home and actually having our entertainment right there in front of us. And it's it's becoming very, very interesting to see that Orlando, Florida in general has been growing as a whole, and we're seeing more and more video game shops pop up around us. And it's really, really just a cool sight to see. Now, there are a lot of people around me that don't like gaming. There are people around me that they don't really seem to care for it. I know it's kind of weird to say, but to really, really dislike somebody's hobby, such as gaming, is such a weird thing to be. Such a weird way to be. Such a weird mindset to be. I remember back in the day, we used to see all these movie stores where you go out and purchase actual physical movies. Now, where you don't even see that anymore. We're barely seeing a digital section or a video game section anymore. We're barely seeing this stuff anymore. And as the stage comes upon us, it really, really made me think, would this be the stage that we'd see more video game stores come out of the woodworks and have more places to buy games from, as opposed to like Walmart? Because when you go to Walmart right now, half the shelves are empty and they're not really selling games anymore like they used to. And somebody like me is more than willing to go down the street here and actually, want to buy from the retro game store down the street as opposed to buy from Walmart or something. I still go to GameStop from time to time, but that's rare. I'll always choose first the retro game store because it's more than likely I'm gonna find what I want there, as opposed to like if I'm buying a brand new game, then yes, I'm gonna go more than likely to GameStop. But there's a good chance also that I will find that new game at the retro game store I go to. And this is just something to throw out to people, but I truly do think the video game community in the state and the city of Orlando, Florida, is just growing right now. And I do think we're gonna see more mom and pop shops pop up. I do think we're gonna see more, retro gaming stores pop up. I do think we're gonna see more along the lines of the video game community just growing as a whole. Because, you know, what else can we do? I mean, going out's not reasonable right now. You can go walk to the lake, but besides the lake, going to do anything else like go to a museum or anything else is just super expensive. Even the movies. The movies are like $20 a pop right now just to go see one movie. When you could save up $10 more and get a whole DLC package for your game as opposed to watch a movie. And another reason I think it's growing as a whole is because the nostalgia behind it, the level of nostalgia and the appreciation for something that was made a long time ago, and we still get enjoyment out of. If I had a chance, the Zelda 2 cartridge back here, I would actually play that if I had the original Nintendo. If I had the right TV, the Sega Genesis would be played. But I don't have the right TV, and one day, maybe after I move out, I'll end up getting the right TV and play the Sega Genesis for you guys, or find a way to hook it to the laptop. I don't know. But yeah, I just think this is really, really cool to see. We're in 2023 right now, heading into 2024, and I'm just seeing I'm seeing the video game community just grow as a whole, and it's a really, really cool thing to see. And I hope it doesn't stop. I hope we continue to see the rise in gaming. I hope we continue to see mom and pop stores pop up more around the area. I hope we see that stuff more often because I don't want that stuff to be a thing of the past. For me, going to a retro game store or going to a game store in general is a lot better of experience. Now, I'm not talking trash on books. Anybody who out there who reads books, you're fine. But what I will say, for me and video gaming, it's exactly like going into a library, okay, or a bookstore. Very, very similar, right? And that's why I have leaned towards gaming so much as opposed to watching movies or getting into books, stuff like that. Stuff like that doesn't draw me in. And there's so many gamers out there that if you ask them an opinion about video gaming and why they're video gaming right now in their life, even if they're in their 30s, okay? They're all more than likely going to give you that same exact answer. Nostalgia, um, not only the nostalgia, but the connection you can make with another human being through a video game. Okay? You can talk about movies all day, but I make a deeper connection talking about video games with people because the experience is in the game that you have as opposed to watching the movie. You know, you get deeply engraved in a game than you do with the movie because you're actually interacting with that game, its surroundings. There are so many people I could meet with right now and tell them a story about Tears of the Kingdom. And I did that. There was a puzzle that needed to be solved with Tears of the Kingdom. And I could relate to the way that puzzle was solved. And I sat down in Twitter, which was like a few months ago during the release of it. And I explained to them, I was like, well, I did it this way. And they're like, well, I did it this way. And I was like, this is cool. This is a really weird connection that we can all make with the same exact game doing a different thing within that game. And that's what's cool about it. So this is some food for thought, and if you're not into gaming, that's fine. But gaming has shown me that you will always have some deep connection with some random person out there who's played a, a game that you've played at one point. There's always people out there you can connect with gaming if they have played a video game. So that's just it. That's all I wanted to get off my shoulders with this, my chest, whatever. And if you do like this here, um, there'll be more like this in the future. This whole channel is based around the topic at hand that we just talked about. So, but if you like it, hit that like button. Also, subscribe to the channel, and also, if you did subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell because I got more on the way. And I'm hopefully going to finish Super Mario Bros. Wonder here in the next week, or Skyward Sword, so I can talk about them with you guys, because I want to do reviews on those. And that's it for me. Take it easy, and I'll be seeing you next time. Keep gaming, gamers.